Welcome everyone to F4S digital events, where we invite successful and inspiring speakers from the business world to tell their career story. In today's event, we're going to be exploring careers in the construction industry. My name is Kath and I work to connect teachers and their students with inspirational people from the world of work, so that you can get a better idea of what careers might suit you. I will be hosting today's session. Audience, your audio, video and chat function has been disabled, and if you are submitting questions, we would ask you to click the anonymous button. We do apologise in advance if we're unable to answer all the questions today. We are recording this session and you'll be able to watch it again on YouTube and share it with your friends. But for just now, sit back and enjoy the webinar. You can take some notes and get ready to ask some questions later on. So I am delighted to be able to welcome two speakers from successful construction firms. We have Stephen Lynas from the Hadden Group and John Cairns from Balfour Beatty. Both will talk a bit about their career journeys and then also about the types of jobs that are available within the construction industry. So Stephen and John, thank you both for giving up your time today and for agreeing to share your story. Stephen, if I can ask you first, what inspired you to choose construction as a career path, or did you start somewhere else first and this is just where you've ended up? If you can just talk us through what your journey's been.
I was from a relatively young age, probably from primary school, and I always say that when I visit schools, is that the thing that inspired me probably most is actually Lego. Where it was the enjoyment actually of designing and then creating things and actually building things, and I suppose, you know, a lot of young people still play with Lego. In fact, I still play with my own kids with Lego. It's, you know, a lot of it is maybe around sort of digital design nowadays in construction, in terms of Minecraft and Fortnite and Sims and these types of things, but that was really what inspired me actually was Lego. And I think from about, you know, early secondary school, I had set my heart actually on becoming an architect.
Right, so that's your background then, you are architect?
It is, yes, I'm a chartered architect, although my journey has sort of taken me a bit of a winding path to where I am now. Okay,
so what subjects did you study when you were at school and how are they relevant to what you do today?
Subjects I studied at school, everybody has this popular misconception that you have to be really good at art to be an architect. And to be honest, I was pretty average at art. I think I got a C grade in my higher art. I mean, you still have to be able to communicate graphically to clients and other design team members. So art certainly is one aspect of it. Technical drawing, a lot of it is done on computers nowadays through CAD and building information modelling. So, you know, certainly IT is good, computing skills. I did maths. Most sort of careers nowadays, you know, you really need a good sort of fundamental grasp of maths and English, you know, about communicating with people. I did history, I did geography, and I did physics. And I think that, you know, architecture is probably a career or a profession where it's quite a broad blend of subjects. It's really quite an all-round type subject. Yes, it's about designing buildings, but it's about understanding where buildings might sit in the landscape, where geography may come in, understanding the history of sites, which is where the history comes in. The fact that you're able to, you know, you need to be able to communicate with clients of your design ideas and things like that, which is where the art side comes in. And then there's quite a bit of sort of, you know, written reports and things like that as well, which is where, you know, the English element comes in as well. So
they're really all relevant. Everything you do at school is going to be relevant in.
Yes. I mean, it's. I would say certainly for anybody, you know, consider a career in construction, you know, you have to be able to communicate. It's about teamwork. It's about understanding. It's about getting on. You know, the collective good is greater than the sum of each of the individual parts. So yeah, it's very much. Yeah.
So On your journey to becoming an architect and then to the position you're in just now, did you always succeed at everything you set out to do, or did some things not quite work out as planned?
I'll give you a wee quick potted history. I mean, I studied at the University of Strathclyde. I did an architecture degree in the early 90s, and then I did my postgraduate again at Strathclyde, and I qualified. I became a chartered architect in the mid 90s. And I worked in Stirling, and I worked in a big practice in Edinburgh. The big corporate culture wasn't for me. I decided to change track, and I moved back to smaller practice in Fife, where I'm based now. And I had increasingly, the more I was involved in sort of client-facing type roles and things like that, the less detached, or the more detached you actually became from the kind of front-end sort of design element of it. And a lot of it was just about managing people, about managing clients and managing clients' expectations. And I took a wee, I sort of refocused my career, and I'd actually gone into doing an element of project management consultancy. I was getting a wee bit, I wouldn't say, I was getting tired with the day-to-day minutiae, if you like, of architecture. And I enjoyed the buzz of making things happen and liaising with clients and really seeing things come out the ground. So I'd done a brief stint in project management consultancy before I was actually invited to join. At the time it was Hadden Construction, by Scott Hadden, our company chairman. And at that point there, I actually joined the business. I made it very clear to Scott that I was joining the business as a land and development manager, essentially to sort of head up and push forward Hadden Group's Hadden Homes portfolio. So it was about appraising sites, understanding sites, land acquisitions, and kind of managing that whole front-end development process so that we could actually identify sites to build houses on. From there, my role had morphed. There was the recession of 2008, 2009, where the funding, if you like, to actually acquire sites, buy sites, had dried up. And from there, I'd naturally moved into a role of actually working in business development and sales and marketing with a company. Till just working, essentially doing sort of beds, work winning stuff, liaising with clients, and really just understanding what clients want so that we can actually pick up on projects and actually deliver them for clients as well. So it's been an interesting role, but I don't think my early career has put me in good stead, I think, for the role that I actually perform at the moment. So albeit I still retain my chartered architect status because I spent a hell of a long time obtaining that, 7 years. It's given me a lot of good life skills and understanding to perform the role that I do now. Okay,
so what part of your career have you enjoyed the most? Is it what you do just now, or was it kind of designing and?
I suppose it's probably. I mean, I remember the buzz that I got when I actually qualified as a chartered architect. You know, that was great because it was a long slog to get there. You know, 7 years from start to finish. You did 4 years at university at Strathclyde. You did a year out working in placement. You did a year back doing your postgrad, and then you had to study or work out for another year before you could actually sit your professional exams to become chartered. So when I got the chartered status, that was, you know, I was really pleased, you know, to get that, and that's probably why I hang on to it, albeit that I'm not actually, you know, practicing, if you like, as an architect in the role that I do now. So the qualification, probably another memorable success was just seeing the first project that I designed being delivered. It was a very modest four-room extension for a medical practice in Clackmannanshire. The very first project that come off my drawing board, which was great to see. You know, it was very humble and actually very, very proud. And I think in terms of successes nowadays, you know, I think anybody who works in construction, from the bricklayer to the joiner to the ground worker to the electrician, to the community engagement and benefits teams, I think everybody will tell you probably the same thing, that when you do see a building that's actually completed, it gives you that, you know, element of you feel very proud that you've actually been able to come together as a team and actually deliver a project for a client. You know, when you see this nice new shiny facility, whether it's a community centre, whether it's new affordable housing, and that families can move into, you know, it's very, very, very rewarding.
So we've talked there about your professional qualifications and all the study you did. What about then, you've also spoken there a little bit about teamwork. So there are an awful lot of soft skills involved. You've talked about communications. So what have you learned that are, you know, essential to you carrying out your job?
It's very much, it's about listening. It's about understanding. It's about being responsive. But I keep on going back to it. It's about teamwork. It's about collaboration. You know, we cannot, an architect on their own, you know, a joiner on their own, a bricklayer on their own cannot deliver a project. It needs to be this whole collective team right the way through from, you know, from the design team at the outset, or from the client actually, who has the idea of, I need to deliver a project for a particular need. It's about pulling the brief together for that. It's about understanding what they really need as opposed to what you think they might like or want, and just working it through with the team until you can actually hand over the keys on completion day. So it's very much, it's about team working.
Right, good. Okay, so I'm sure our students will have lots of questions for you at the end of the session, but just now, if I can ask you, John, I know you've got a PowerPoint presentation for us, and if you can just talk us through your career to date.
Excellent. Yes. Good afternoon. Excellent to be on this call. So yeah, my name's John Cairns. So I'm the Community Benefits Advisor for Balfour Beatty. So just a little bit, I guess, about my journey and into my current role. I've certainly not took the traditional route into construction. I left school 20 years ago. And initially I had the aspiration to be a sports journalist. I guess when I left school, it was pre-internet, so it was written journalism that I was interested in doing. And I got a B in English higher, and I got 5 other hires, which were good grades. But the university I originally wanted to go to was so competitive, I didn't get in. So I had to change track. And I ended up studying politics at Glasgow University for 4 years. So I guess the degree I chose, it was quite flexible, where you did different things for the first couple of years. So I did a bit of Scottish history, a bit of philosophy, as well as politics, and then eventually focusing on politics in honours years. After university, to be honest, I wasn't quite sure what to do. I wasn't sure what path to go down. I'd worked part-time when I was at university in retail. And I eventually, after about 6 months, a year, kind of figured out I was quite interested in educational policies. And I got a job first at Glasgow City Council. I was an attendance officer for a year down in Drumchapel. And then I made a big move up to Aberdeen about 11 years ago after that. And I got a very temporary job with Scottish Government with HMIE. And then eventually I moved to Aberdeen City Council. And I was there for 7 years, best part of 7 years. Eventually I was managing youth employment programmes that the local authority offered for young people that left school, helping people that hadn't had a positive destination, and managed a team and budget that helped young people find work or find training opportunities or move to college after they left school. So that was a great experience. But during the time with the City Council, I got a lot of exposure to kind of large scale infrastructure projects that Aberdeen were investing in, going back 4 or 5 years ago. And I was interacting a lot with large construction companies that were coming into Aberdeen to build various projects. And one of them was being delivered as a joint venture by Balfour Beatty. So that was the Aberdeen Western Peripheral Route. So it's over £1 billion project that was built in Aberdeen between 2015 and 2018. And although I was never part of the project team that delivered the AWPR, but that sort of set the initial spark in my interest in construction and large-scale investment across Scotland. And he started having more an awareness of some of the large-scale projects that were going on, be it the Queen's FRIAS and the V&A, and it was or the new exhibition centre in Aberdeen. It was fascinating looking into projects, learning about the designs of projects, learning about all the jobs that are created through these large-scale infrastructure projects, and also understanding construction companies' aspirations to offer extra support to the community while the projects are being built, be that jobs or apprenticeships or graduate placements or work placements. Yeah, so I sort of kept an eye on the industry to see if there would be any opportunities that would come up that I could maybe take on. And thankfully, the role with Balfour Beatty came up, started 2017. So Community Benefits Advisor for North Scotland, and it was a brand new position. Nobody had that role before. So I was quite excited because it sort of gave me that extra challenge that I was looking for at that particular time. And it's proven to be a really good move, learning loads over the last few years, and getting to see loads of projects across North Scotland. In terms of Balfour Beatty, so biggest construction company in the UK, developing, building, financing major projects. What people probably don't realise is the kind of range of expertise that the business has got. I work in construction services, but there's different specialist parts of the business like power, rail, gas, water, living places as well. So I typically I'm attached to projects, large-scale construction projects like building new schools, new hospitals, new college buildings, railway stations, etc. But Balfour Beatty is a company that deliver a bigger range of kind of spectrum of projects, and I've put some examples on the screen. In terms of the role, it's really that I deliver now. It's ever changing in terms of remit, but I've put up some of my responsibilities on the screen. So a lot of report writing and evidence writing in terms of the extra investment that we're doing in the local community through our supply chain spend. I help coordinate and arrange a lot of the work placements, promoting apprenticeship and graduate opportunities, keeping track of new jobs that have been created through projects, upskilling staff, arranging staff training, making links with charitable organisations, social value reporting, and I guess linking into my previous aspirations doing journalism, I maintain a lot of the newsletters, social media updates for projects as well as I think Stephen mentioned that work winning, doing some of the reports and stuff like that for future projects. So just before I pass back, I'll just show you some of the pictures of projects that I've supported the community benefits delivery on in the last 3 years. So Lochside Academy, brand new secondary school which opened in summer 2018, biggest secondary school in Aberdeen now, and we're still supporting the school with different bits and pieces post project. We had a couple of students on virtual work experience last week from Lochside Academy. Balfour Beatty's done a lot of the improvements at the Aberdeen International Airport, baggage reclaim areas, security areas, some of the new retail units at the airport. 2018, the new Dundee railway station and hotel opened. I was part of the project team for about 9 months, but it was a 3-year project, constructing the new structure. A lot of people won't realise the structure's on top of a bridge structure as well. And I guess very challenging in terms of delivering this project over the top of a live operational railway track as well. Cracking building down in Dundee, and a lot of investment down the waterfront in Dundee at the minute. Last year, at the end of last year, we just finished the Dundee Regional Performance Centre for Sport. which is about an 18-month, 20-month contract. Delivering includes this fancy indoor football arena, sports centre, it's got an energy centre, velodrome track, cracking project for Dundee City Council. Last year as well, again, civil engineering project was the Dundee Flood Protection Project, which was a 4-kilometre setback wall that runs from Dundee Airport right into the city centre. And the team in Dundee constructed that over a period of about 18 months as well. And just a couple more, Glenrothes last year as well, district heating project. It's a renewable energy project, so collecting all the excess steam from the RDWE Energy Centre. And it was collecting the steam and transporting it through pipes, which our civil engineering team installed through the centre of Glenrothes, and it connects to a couple of the City Council's buildings, so it provides a renewable heating source for some of the council's buildings in Glenrothes. And then last but not least, Gobbins coastal path. So although I support projects in North Scotland, I got a chance to go over to Northern Ireland to support the team over near a place called Island of Magee, and it was improvement works for a coastal path, a tourist path. It's called Gobbins Coastal Path. So I guess just to end with that one, it kind of shows you construction kind of opens up a lot of doors in terms of travelling as well. So in my current job in active projects, we've got projects in Skye, Aviemore, Elgin, Aberdeen. So I find myself quite fortunate that I get to travel about to different parts of the country and see some very beautiful and scenic places in Scotland and wider as well. So hopefully that just gives you a wee flavour of what we do and what I do as a job. I'll stop sharing that.
Yeah, thanks for that, John. That's a really diverse range of products, and it's great to be able to travel with your job anyway. Hopefully it doesn't rain all the time when you do that. No. Okay, we do have some questions in, so you can decide. I think I'll go with you, Stephen, give John a bit of a rest. There's obviously some girls on this afternoon, and there's quite a lot of questions about jobs for girls in construction. I think possibly that people think jobs in construction are just for boys. So I have 3 questions here, which I'll just roll into one. One, is it a good industry to go into for girls? How many, are there many girls in construction, and what jobs are available for girls?
Okay, thanks, Kath. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for a good number of years, I think it's been stereotypically, you know, that it's construction is a job for boys only, and we would just absolutely like to totally smash that myth. It's very much any type of job in construction is equally available to girls to actually access. One example that I could give is that we actually have, we've actually got a female bricklaying apprentice who's doing absolutely amazing, Samantha, who works with us on the trade side. We've been endeavouring to address the gender balance, as it were. We have a number of QSs, quantity surveyors, in our organisation who work with us. We have finance, admin, HR. I'm just trying to think of the roles that we have where we have females, and yeah, we have customer care roles as well, modern apprentices, as well as graduates. Right, so it's right across the board, I think, for females in construction. Absolutely, don't think you can't do it. You can, and you'd be very welcome.
Good. Okay, so the next one then is, how has, I'll ask this to you again, Stephen, because I've got one specifically for you, John, in a minute. How has technology helped the construction industry?
It's helped the construction industry massively. I mean, when I remember back to when I actually did a work placement when I was at high school, And at that particular time, when you were actually drawing, it was actually done with pen and ink. And if you made a mistake, it wasn't a computer that you just erased, erased the line. You actually had to get out a razor blade and actually scrape out the ink off the tracing paper, which is going back a few years now. But it's so much more sophisticated nowadays with computer-aided design, with 3D technology through building information modelling, in fact 4D technology now. There's also a lot of drones getting used, a lot of technology in terms of surveying equipment. We have laser guided bulldozers in building sites and things like that now, where you can actually almost program them to cut to particular levels when we're actually preparing sites. It's a massive thing nowadays, which is why I think that anyone who is at school nowadays and studying, I think it's really important that you do understand, ICT and technology.
Good. Okay, John, you mentioned you had some people on work experience.
Yes, yeah.
So someone's asking, what do you do on a virtual work experience?
Last week we had it was a it was a design challenge. So they were using, the pupils got to choose what software they used. Some people were using Minecraft. Some pupils were using a bit of software called Autodesk Revit. And we were getting pupils to design and build a building in 3D. So they had a week to plan out, research, create mood boards, and then eventually create their design in 3D. And it was amazing, some of the projects that the pupils produced. If you go onto his Twitter and look for Esteem Pavilion models, you'll see a load of different examples from pupils. And I've retweeted the ones that the Lockside Academy pupils did last week on my Twitter account. So,
okay, we can have a look at that then. So there's a couple of questions regarding location, because I think some people are saying, do you need, is it always travel, or can you be based in one place? Is it normally based on a site, or is it mostly office based? I guess that depends on what you're doing. And I'm sure there was another one. Yeah, do you need to work away from home? So I guess it will depend on what type of job you do, but you've mentioned travel, John. Stephen, do you have to go and visit sites and work away from home and overnight, or?
We live based just outside Perth in Perthshire, but we work right the way across Scotland, predominantly right the way across the central belt of Scotland, but we do go up into Angus, Tayside, and down into the Lothians, and then south of Glasgow. It's at the moment we can normally travel fairly close. We don't have international projects. We don't work in England. It's solely Scotland. But what I would say, and I've always said that to students when I've gone out to talk to them, is that if you get a good degree, or good qualifications, the Scottish education system is very well respected. So you can actually get a degree in any form of construction, and you will be able to travel the world with it. Whether it's building dams in America to working on large power or skyscrapers in Dubai type thing. The sort of Scottish engineers and Scottish construction professionals are very, very well regarded throughout the world.
Okay, and we have time for one last question, and I'll pass it your way, John. Someone is saying, what is the future for construction? Will there ever be enough buildings, or will we just keep building and building? Balfour Beatty's produced quite a good video where they've looked into the future 2050. It's called 2050 Innovation, and they've produced a video in terms of how future technologies could impact construction and the jobs and the careers. And there's a very good video on YouTube. If anyone wants to check it out, I can share the link after this discussion. That'd be good. We can put that out in the survey questionnaire. So
yeah, but it's definitely moving more towards more off-site, I guess, modular construction. maybe reduce the number of people on site, or I guess there's more automation coming into the industry, but it's going to take a long time for it to become kind of mainstream. But the video that Balfour Beatty's produced for the 2050 innovations definitely gets, it starts a conversation. I guess nobody can predict what's going to happen in the next 20, 30 years, but it's just...
What I would say, just to quickly add to that, Kath, is that I think there will be a lot more sort of retrofit and refurbishment, you know, as we look, you know, and I think maybe the question was maybe kind of geared towards, you know, do we always have enough buildings, or do we always need to keep building? And I think, you know, as we go through that natural cycle of kind of, you know, upgrading and making buildings more energy efficient, there's a growing industry there for that, you know, as we try to be a bit more sustainable in terms of, even more sustainable in terms of what we do.
But definitely a career for the future. Yeah,
absolutely.
Right, so thank you to you both for sharing your stories, and I'm sure the people watching are a bit more enlightened about careers in the construction industry, because I know I am. Thanks to the students at home for joining in and all the great questions you asked. You will be emailed a feedback survey, so we'd ask you to complete this so we can continue to improve our digital services. Look out for the recording on the YouTube channel, Founders for Schools. And if you aren't already following us, we are on Twitter and Instagram. So our next career session is tomorrow at 2 p.m. and we'll focus on the importance of soft skills, which we've touched on today. But we hope to see you there. And thanks again to Stephen and John for joining us today and giving us your time. Thank you.
Thank you.